Good morning. Custom fields in workbooks help you track the specific information you need to know about your contacts and customers and information relating to them. Now, it's really easy to create these fields, but choosing the right field type for the type of data you want to record is critical and will help you going forwards to maintain a healthy system, an accurate database, make it easy for your colleagues to use, and make it easier for marketing and reporting. Hello, my name is Tim Wilmot, and I'm joined today by my colleague Peter Johnson and our company, Wizard Systems. We're a leading CRM solutions supplier of systems like Workbooks, and we mainly work with small and medium-sized companies to help them improve how they go about their sales, marketing, and customer service productivity. So thanks for joining us this morning for our Workbooks training session, a regular series of short little presentations focusing on different topics in and around Workbooks. And this morning, as I say, we're going to cover these custom field types. You've got 25 of them in Workbooks, more than many other CRM systems. So lots of choice there over the type of custom field. Getting it right is quite critical. Now, this presentation will be about a quarter of an hour or so in duration. Just an overview of customizing workbooks. It's a very customizable system. This is not meant to be in-depth training as such, and my company, Wizard Systems, we offer many extensive training options if you want to explore that with us. Now, the audio part of this presentation is one way only. If you've got a question, please type that into the question box on your meeting control panel, and I'll do my best to answer those at the end. And this call is being recorded. After the call, you will get an email from our system with a link to the recording that you can play back whenever you want to, and we'll pop it up on our YouTube channel as well. Just go up to YouTube, and our channel is Wizard Systems, all one word. There's a workbooks playlist up there, loads of other workbooks videos and all sorts of different topics that we've done over the weeks, months, and years. Just a brief mention about Wizard Systems. So we are, as I say, a leading independent CRM solutions provider. Workbooks is one of the many CRM solutions we provide here. They're all very different, aimed at different requirements. We've got a lot of experience in implementing these systems, and we provide the complete service around it. So any kind of help you want in getting your system up and running, please come to us. We offer extensive help, and we've got a permanently manned help desk service as well. You've got a query, problem, just contact us. We'll try and sort you out as quickly as possible. So, custom fields and go on. Let me hand over now. We're all operating from our home location still. This presentation is August 2020. We're sort of in semi-lockdown, but let me just hand over to my colleague Pete, and he'll take us through custom fields, and I'll come back to you at the end where we have our little Q&A.
Okay, thanks Tim, and good morning to everybody attending today. Right, I'm just going to make sure you see my screen. So Tim, can you confirm you can see my screen and hear me?
Yeah, both.
Good, great stuff. Okay, so my plan this morning is, as Tim mentioned, to take you through some of these fields. In previous sessions, we have covered the dynamic linked fields, which really led to looking at these other fields as 25 in total. So we're going to have a look through most of these. However, I'm going to skip through the very obvious ones with an obvious type, you know, text and so forth, but spend a little bit more time on some of those that perhaps need a little bit more explanation. Most of the fields that I'm going to show you today are on this lead record that I've got up on the screen. I've added a few here just to show you examples. So I'm going to show you where fields are added. In the configuration area, so you have to be an administrator of the system or being given the rights to add and customize fields. So I'm going to go into customization, record types, and the type of record that I'm going to show you is a sales lead. So I'll just might as well pop through that list of fields to be added. So just to make a bit of room here. Okay. Okay, here we go. So to add fields, generally you go to the Fields tab on this customization record type screen, and you can see here if I add a new field, new custom field, you can see there's a big long selection list here. So I am going to go through these just to let you know what they look like and how you would use them perhaps, and maybe show you some that you didn't know were there. So I'm going to scroll over there. So first one in this list is a checkbox, one of those first very obvious ones. It's a tick box like this where you just go and tick. So you might want to have a selection of checkboxes on a screen that you want to be able to allow users to tick or untick according to that. And all of these you can have default values in. So when you have that field, it might be defaultly ticked or unticked, a real kind of yes and no. Currency type field, this allows you to add a currency value and the type of currency, especially if you're using a multi-currency system. I've got a field down here, I think. Yeah, so here's an annual revenue figure, which is a currency figure, and if you have multi-currency, you can go and select which currency that relates to. So currency fields are pretty straightforward ones, pretty simple to see. Dashboard one, this might be one that we revisit at some point in the future. It really allows you to have a dashboard view. Those that are familiar with dashboards, this is a dashboard screen, but this screen might be showing within the most common ways as a tab, to be honest. So you can get a complete overview of lots of reports that are reporting on that particular organization, person, case, whatever it might be. So a dashboard field allows you to choose a dashboard and then restrict it to only show information about the record that you're currently looking at. What else have we got in here? Date, fairly obvious. It's a date field where you can have the selector as a date. A date time field will allow you to select the date and the time. Decimal number, fairly obvious this one. It's a numeric field, but you can set the decimal point so to a particular level, as opposed to one further down here, which is an integer number, which is a whole number. So you can only put whole numbers in that particular field. We did cover these two in our last session, I think last week, I think, Tim, dynamic linked item and dynamic pick lists, being able to produce a drop-down value from a report. Email address. Now, there are some default email addresses on records, but you might want to add another one, which would allow you to email to that particular email address from that record. I've got a perfect example down here where we've got a referrer's email address. So I've got the email address of the lead record, but it might have been referred by somebody, and that referrer address, yeah, that referrer address is available here, and I can choose this little drop-down list here and be able to send that person or that email address an email. You can even apply one of the templates that relate to the lead record in this example. So an email address field, you might want multiple ones, and the perfect example of that, I think, is something like this referrer here. So if I click on here, so we've got an email address, a file. Now that will allow you to point to a particular file on your PC. So it's a browsing type option. Now, the thing with this type of field is that you need to be aware that when you choose a file, here's a file field, that file exists locally on that machine or a mapped drive. So other people seeing this wouldn't be able to get to that particular file. So I would just browse in good old Explorer fashion and you can see here there's a link to that, which I can then just open up and see that particular file. So slightly restrictive, that one. Normally you maybe upload a file to a particular file location and so forth. An iframe, an iframe is really just either on the screen here on the main tab, you can have a little kind of box that shows the contents of a website. The most common way I see these iframes is of a tab of its own. So most of these special type fields you can turn into a tab of its own. This barber one is a particular iframe tab, and you can see it just goes to a particular website. A typical one, and I think I've got one up here on the help files, is a Google Maps iframe. So you can see in this graphic here, it's a tab of its own, but the contents of this tab is a website. So what this has done is it's done an automated search. This is quite a good one, actually. Might be worth anybody looking in the help files, and it tells you exactly how to do this particular iframe one to show a Google map location of the record that you're looking at. So an iframe is a website within that particular screen. Going down this list, we have an image one that shows an image. Out of the box, Workbooks provides an image of perhaps a person record. So you get the, if you don't know what they look like, you could upload an image to that. Integer number I've covered, which is a whole number there. Multi-line text field, rather like the street address here on a record, allows you to put multiple values in a field, line by line in that example. So that's a multi-line text field, often good for comment fields and things like that. Multi-select, now this is really kind of the first one of the pick list type fields. Now when a pick list type field is you build a list in the background to be able to select from. So the multi-select is rather like this brand and interest one here. You can see as I click on here, I've got some multiple options that I can choose from. Now, a multi-select field allows you to go and select these individually and add them to that field. So you can see the result of me selecting all three of those is all three values exist in this field. So therefore, a multi-select option. And if you want to remove one of these items, you can just click the little X. So it allows you to put multiple values. So this is ideal in this example to show what interests or brands this particular lead is interested in my example here. Okay, so that was a multi-select. Percentage clearly shows a number with a percentage symbol next to it and might be useful in some of your report calculations. A phone number field allows you to have a field with a little telephone icon at the end, which whether you're in your browser, if your PC or Mac is linked to your phone system, then you'll be able to dial from here. But of course, if you're looking at this on a mobile device, your mobile phone, you can just click here and dial that number straight away. It recognizes that it's a phone number field and it will start dialing the phone for you. So ideal to have a number of those perhaps. A pick list field. Now, a pick list field is a field, and they're very obvious on the screen. They have these little drop-down arrows. So hopefully you can see in my country one here, I've got a little drop-down arrow, so I can go and select the country that is, in this case, is the address. So these pick list fields, there's a list in the background that you can manage. In the background, when you go into the configuration area, all of those pick lists, again, you have to have the particular capabilities to go and add or change these. So you can see here, configuration, customization, and pick lists. And whenever you go to a particular pick list, so if I go to this brand one, which I think you've already seen, brand of interest, this one. In here, you can see there are 3 values available in here, and I can go and add new ones in here. Add whatever value it is you want to add in here, save and close, and that pick list is now available in that particular field. So a pick list field, you can see in here, has these arrows. Now you might see a pick list field with a little plus symbol. Now what that means is the user can go and select from one of those items, or if it's not in that list, because it's got a plus symbol, the user can add a value of their own. Yeah, so you can just type in a value and then save the record. The difference between that unrestricted pick list to a restricted one is the user on this record here, on this field, can only choose one of these values. If you try and type a value in here and try and save, it won't. It'll prompt you with an option that you must select a value. Now, in those pick lists, they're very easy to change from a restricted one to an unrestricted one. So if I go into here, this one's called bank account type, you can see there's a little tick box here which says unrestricted, which means it'll have a little plus by it, and if I take that out, it will not, and it will make the user choose a value from that field. So back to my list of field types. We're getting quite a far down now. So we've got pick lists, report, and report cells. So a report field is a whole report on the record, and you might have, for example, a report showing customer spend over the last 12 months. So you could have that value and that report listed and shown in here. A report cell is ideal for showing a single value from a report against this record, a typical one here. This is a typical report cell field, this lead score. So in the background, there's a report that makes some sort of calculation based on the information that you have about this record, and then that particular field is color coded. Now you do need to go and build a report and link it to that particular field, and then choose the cell that it is. But it's an ideal way of perhaps making calculations where you don't need a value, you just need the user to see some information on the record, which is ideal as a report cell. Report select, so this allows you to show a report. I think I've got one of those on here. Allows to show a report field. So here's a perfect example of a report field. Yeah, but I made this a report select field, which means it allows the user to say, okay, for this record, go and select this value, and this value. So in looking at that, you can see the values that have been selected there. Okay, so report select field, so a report field, but one that the user can interact with. Rich text, that's rather like a multi-line field, but you can change fields. The typical type of field there, if I go to send an email, actually it brings up a rich text field. In fact, not in this example. So here is a rich text field, which means once I put a subject in here, this field at the bottom is a rich text and gives me all of these little toolbars where I can change the text types, fonts, colors, and so forth in a little bit of a HTML way. So that's a rich text field. So you might want to have maybe a description where you can highlight things and underline text and that type of thing. Time field is fairly obvious. And the final one in the list here is a URL field, which allows you on a record to produce a field that allows you to navigate to a website. A typical one is website actually here. So you can see I've got a URL in here, and there's a little button at the end, which if I click, it will open up that particular website. Now, of course, you could have an iframe field that shows that value, and then you'd see the website in here or on a tab of its own. So a URL field generally is allowing you to navigate to a record. A typical one for that perhaps is there's an add-on for Goldmine, which is Web Insights, which allows you to track customers that are or leads that appear on or search on your website and navigate around. And here is the link that they came in on and some reporting around that. And this is URL field looking at the Web Insights tool. And if I click on this, I can go straight to the stats that refer to that particular URL about that particular lead in this example. So you can see some other number fields, decimal number fields, date and time fields, all of those fields. I've put a good sample on this record just so that you can see what all of those fields are like and how they look. So a good number there. Hopefully you can see, I have skipped over some of the simple ones, but a little bit more detail on some of those others that maybe you didn't know about. So Tim, can we go maybe, have you got any questions, Tim, yourself, or anybody kind of typed any in yet?
Yeah, just a reminder, if you've got any questions around this or indeed any Workbooks topic, just pop that into the question box on the meeting control panel just while you do that. So thanks, Pete. So we can see there's a wide range of choice there that you've got over creating custom fields, and the choice of field is very important as regards how you might use that field, how you might search for it, how you might use it for marketing or reporting. It might also be dictated by if you're importing data from another application, trying to map the appropriate format of data. So a date field, for example, from a source system goes into Workbooks as a date field. So that might be a requirement there that will stipulate the type of field. Okay, questions. First question from Dan. Can I change how long a field is after I've created it? So I guess that might, I'm not sure whether that's making it shorter or longer. Dan, if
okay.
you type in, oh, Dan's making it longer. Dan's making the field longer.
Yes, yeah, okay. So yes, you can. I would advise always to take a bit of care and try and get these right first time. But yes, so if you do have a field already created, you can see I've got a custom text field, this one here, and if I click on that, you can see when it pops up the window, I can make the characters bigger. I would really take some care in doing this. Certainly if you're going down, you're going to possibly lose some data. You might want to do a little backup, a copy of your database first, just to make sure everything goes smoothly. But yes, you can.
Okay, Jean-Claude, for a pick list field, you have to create the pick list first before the field. Yes? Question mark. So
yes, you can. You must. When you go and add a new pick list field, the field when you generate it, this is a pick list field in the system. You have to tell it which pick list to look at, and this is a mandatory field. So if you're not sure of what that pick list is going to look like, go and create a pick list, give it a name, but don't put any values in it yet. You can go and update it afterwards. Often when I'm setting up new systems, I'm not quite sure what the customer wants in that pick list. So I'll go and create it anyway, don't put any values in, but it allows me to create the field that then can be added to that pick list of values.
Yeah, it's a good point about creating like an empty pick list. At the outset, typically you may not know those common values that will want to go into that field. So you just create a little placeholder for it, and then go back.
Sorry, Tim. Yes, what you can't do is then go for a text field and convert it into a pick list field. You can't change the field type after you've built it. So if you think it's going to be a pick list, as you say, Tim, it's a really good idea to go and create a blank one first, perhaps.
Yeah. Okay. Anil is asking, I need to have a field formatted as 4 characters, then 6 characters, then 2. Can I do that as one field in Workbooks, or would I need 3?
Okay, there's probably a number of answers to that, depending on your requirements, and maybe we take that offline afterwards if you've got any extra questions there. But I would probably create the 3 fields so you can see them one side by side, a bit like these checkboxes, I guess, and you can put the first value, the second value. Now you could bring that together so that the user can see it nicely in a report field. So you could do a little concatenation and add the formatting that you want. Or we could even do it with an on-save script. So we've done many customers where they just put a value in, 3, 4, and 3, I think you said there, Neil. So if it's 3, 4, 3, just put it into one text field, and when you save, it splits it out for you. It breaks it up for you. So we can put little rules in the background that can help with that as well. But the 3 fields is the easiest possible way of doing it, I would imagine.
I think you were thinking of a football formation there, 3-4-3.
Yeah, maybe.
Okay, thanks, Anil. I don't think there's any more questions coming through, so we'll wrap up now. So thanks very much for those of you attending live. Watch out for the recording. There's our contact details for myself, Tim Wilmot, and my colleague, Peter Johnson. So that's it for this week's little Workbooks training session. We'll have another one next Thursday. So hope you can catch us there live. You can't watch these live. Pop up to our YouTube channel, Wizard Systems. You'll see a whole load up there. But I'd love to see you live and answer your questions. So thanks very much again, and we'll speak to you this time next week. Thank you. Bye-bye.